Okay, so just coming onto your back and just give yourself a nice gentle squeeze. It's not going to be very deep, especially on these like chillier mornings. So you could probably even just grab your thighs and then maybe just make some small little circles. They could actually be big too, but just making some circles with your knees going one direction. And then just shifting, starting to move the opposite direction. You might just notice that you're getting a nice little massage on your lumbar. So that lower back, which can be extra rickety in the morning. Good, and then just come to center, squeeze again, and then just release your feet to the mat. So keep your knees bent. Take your feet as wide as your mat and then allow your knees to knock in towards each other. You can feel your tailbone direct gently forward here so you start to lengthen through the sides of the waist. There's going to be a little natural curve in your lower back, so you're not trying to flatten the spine. And then you can take your arms by your side. Maybe it feels good to have both hands on your belly today, hand on heart, hand on belly. Just play around. See what feels good. You could even do cactus arms here, goalpost arms, which sometimes feels like a nice little gentle stretch across the shoulders. And take a deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Sigh the week out. Sigh out any kind of stress that might be kicking around. Do that a few times. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And then eventually you start to drop into that ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. Length of the inhale, length of the exhale, really nice and even. And let's actually just do a little pranayama here. So let's inhale to the count of 6. So inhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Couple more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can kind of hold on to that if that was a good length for you. If you want to stretch your breath out, shorten it a little bit. But again, just find that idea of equanimity between the inhale and the exhale, that evenness. And just be here for a few more moments. Do a little scan of your body here. Start at your feet, work your way up. Notice if there is any tension that has crept in. If you're starting to tense muscles that you don't need to. And it's interesting because sometimes this happens without us even being aware. So just do that little body scan and a check in, see what's going on. If you're gripping anywhere, you start to release in those places. So you're feeling your feet, you're feeling the hip plates on the back of your body, kind of at the bottom part of the lumbar. You're feeling your shoulder blades underneath you getting really heavy. And as all of these touch points melt into the mat, it almost feels like the front side of your body is widening a little bit. So yes, there's effort in all of our poses, but we also want to see where we can find a sense of ease. And then you're just going to keep your eyes closed here. Bring your arms by your side if they're not already, and then heel toe your feet so they're about hips distance apart. And you want the outer edge of the foot to be parallel with the outer edge of the mat. And really, really gentle here. So it doesn't have to be this big movement starting out. As you inhale, you're going to press into your feet, start to lift your hips up off the mat, tiny amount. And then exhale, lower down. As you're lowering down, start at the top of your vertebra and then work your way down. So one at a time. Inhaling, lifting. Exhale, lower. And then continue like that. So see if you can really use that full inhale to lift up. Slight pause at the top and then use your full exhale to lower down. So being just really gradual and methodical about this. We're going to do several rounds of this. So as we begin to warm up the spine, warm up the body, perhaps you find that you can lift just a hair higher. You might not need to. So noticing these things. Often what happens in this bridge pose is we start to roll to the outer edges of our feet. So observe if that's happening to you. Put a little of your brain to the inside of the foot, so pressing to the mound of the big toe, the inner heel. Feel those arches lift. So our feet are essentially in our mountain pose, Tadasana. Get a few more rounds. Hopefully it's starting to feel a little easier here. Good. So the next time you're inhaling up, just hold there. And a couple of options. Grab the outer edges of your mat. Walk your fingertips closer to your heels. As you do that, you can snuggle your shoulders underneath you. So you feel that action of your shoulder blades feeling a little more like feet. If you're a little more open in your shoulders, you could interlace your fingers underneath you as well. And kind of do that same thing. You just rock back and forth a little bit. Then find the feet. And as you're holding here, you might notice that the glutes start to burn a little bit. You're going to feel a burn in the top of the thigh. So again, back out a little bit if you need to, but if you're getting a nice stretch, it's okay to have some sensation. Listening to that sound of your breath. If you've lost it, and you will, it's hard to hold on to it throughout an entire practice, but we get better at that the more we do it. Notice how expansive the breath is on the inhale here in this pose. You can really feel the breath move into the front of the body, the sides of the body, and the back of the body. And then conversely, everything contracts in as we exhale. One more deep inhale. And then release the grip of the mat or your hands underneath you. And again, just slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. And then from here, give your knees a nice gentle squeeze into your chest. We've been here before. Does it feel different yet? Even just after a few minutes. You can gently rock from side to side, just massaging out that lower back. And then we're going to place our feet back on the mat. So this is where having a strap is really nice. If you don't have one, you could use a tie or a belt. Just something makeshift. You can get these at most stores. So we're going to take our strap, you're going to unfurl it, and then you're going to place it over the sole of your right foot. So you want it to be slightly below the bridge, a little bit above the arch. So it's going to be like upper third of your foot. And then you're going to take one strap in each hand, and you're going to begin to bring your leg to straight. It might not come all the way to straight for some of us. That's okay. And then I want you to imagine that you're standing on this leg. So this leg is in Tadasana. It's in mountain pose, even though we're not standing upright. But we want to find some of those actions. So you can feel your inner right thigh gently rolling forward, trying to find a little space in this lower right waist. So you can even take your thumb, right thumb, to that right hip crease, and then just gently press forward to find that action. Articulate the foot. So it's as though you're standing on it, or you're going to try to stand on the ceiling here. And then breath smooth and steady. And then finally, you come down as far on the strap as you need to so that both shoulder blades are pressing into the mat underneath you. So the back of your body feels really long and steady. You might stay here like this. Perhaps you start to extend your left leg straight to the mat. So it comes into Tadasana also. Legs doing the same thing here, even though they're facing different directions. So left toes point up towards the ceiling if you have that leg extended. And if you go there and it just feels too intense, just keep the knee bent. Go ahead and take both straps into your right hand. Take your left hand, place it on top of your left thigh. You're reminding the backside of your body to keep pressing evenly. So we don't want that left hip plate to pop up. As you exhale, nice and easy, start to extend off to the right. And you'll know you've gone too far if that left hip plate pops up. For most of us, we're going to get to a place where we're just feeling a really intense stretch, and that's where you stay. Put your brain back in those left toes. Make sure that they're pointing up towards the ceiling. Send a little breath to that lower right waist. So you're still trying to create a little room there. And gaze can just be up the ceiling here. So you're keeping the back of your neck nice and long. This is super intense and it's hard to hold. Sometimes you can even get little cramps in your hands, especially if you're newer to this. You could always slide a block or a blanket underneath that right thigh to give you a little support as well. Couple more breaths. Send your exhale to those places in your body where there is some intensity. Just imagine the breath creating a little space, a little ease. Good. We inhale, come up to center, and then take both straps into your left hand. Bring your right arm out in a T shape. So feel that shoulder blade really heavy. We want to hold on to that feeling. As you exhale, start to extend right leg to the left. So this time, that right hip plate might pop up off the mat. It might not, but it's okay if it does. It's okay if you start to stack. And then you will be rolling to the outer edge of your left foot potentially. So don't feel like you need to keep those toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And then in terms of gaze, you're either looking straight up or you're rolling onto your right ear, gazing out over those right fingertips. And this is a really intense stretch. This is a great stretch to do pretty regularly throughout the week. It's so good for back stuff. If you ever get sciatica, this is a good one to do. It can be really uncomfortable in these longer holds though. Do keep that breath moving, use it. All right, so we're gonna come back up to center. Keep that strap on the right foot. Feel the backside of your body pressing evenly into the mat. I want you to hold on to that. We're gonna just do a little diagonal stretch. So keeping the straps in your left hand, start to bring your right big toe towards your left shoulder. You might not move very far, and this is usually really intense hamstring stretch. You're gonna feel it in the glute. You could even feel it down in the calf. Keep breathing. This is always shocking because it's such a tiny little move, but it packs such a punch. Couple more breaths. All right, so go ahead and just come back to center. Bend the right knee, you can take that strap off, and then hug both knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And get curious about how you feel on that right side. So typically after I do this stretch, I always feel like I grew an inch. So it's intense. It's a simple little series, but it's certainly intense. It's not easy, but it is one of those ones where you usually feel pretty good after you've done each side. So let's even things out. So starting with both knees bent, you're back in that bridge position. Take your strap, place it over the sole of the left foot. So again, slightly below the bridge of the foot, kind of where the mound of all those toe pads are, but above the arch of the foot. So kind of that place in between, and this is nice. It helps us to articulate that foot. So that helps us to find that Tadasana feeling. One strap in each hand. Good. Start to bring that left leg to straight any amount. A little bend in the knee is okay. So that's gonna happen if you're tighter. Also, if you're really hyper flexible in your joints, you might want to have a little bend in your knees. That's just going to help you to actually feel more stretch and protect your joints. Feel the backside of your body pressing evenly. Send your exhale into that left hip crease. Imagine that it's just drawing forward. If you want to take your left thumb there again, if that was helpful, and physically press forward. So that's the action that we're trying to find. And if you're getting a nice little stretch here, this is where you stay. If you feel like you'd like to intensify things, start to press that right heel forward on the mat. Keep that foot really articulated, toes point up, back side of the body pressing evenly. And just see how that feels. It might be a lot different on this side. Are you breathing? Are you smiling a little bit? There's tension. If you're clenching your jaw, soften there. And then both straps come into your left hand, right palm on top of your right thigh. You're reminding that leg to stay active and not get lazy. As we exhale, we take that left leg off to the left any amount. If this right hip plate starts to pop up, you've gone too far, so then you just back out. And then conversely, we're all built a little different. We have different things going on in our bodies, depending upon the time of day we're practicing. All kinds of things factor in. So you'll know you're there when you're feeling a stretch, and you don't need to go past that. Finding your breath. Just being with the intensity of the sensation that you're feeling, even if it's a little uncomfortable. Just knowing you're doing something good here. Good. Keep that right leg really active as you inhale. Left leg comes to center. Both straps in your right hand. Left arm out in a T shape, palm facing up. Put your brain down in that left shoulder blade. It gets heavy. It's anchoring you to the earth. As you exhale, start to extend that left leg to the right. You're going to roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Hips might start to stack on top of each other. And then you can either gaze straight up here, maybe start to roll onto your left cheek. So getting a little stretch through the side of the neck. Even here, can you continue to draw that left hip slightly forward? How is this side different? Good. Inhale up to center. And then that tiny movement. So strap stay in that right hand. Bring your left big toe towards your right shoulder head. So just a little diagonal stretch. Keep those right toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Breathe into like the belly of your glute, the hamstring, these really big muscles that get super tight. And this seemingly innocuous stretch really gets into them. Good. One more deep inhale. And then go ahead and come back to center. Just release that strap from your left foot. You can move the strap off to the side. Hugging both knees in again. You should feel even here. You should feel hopefully a little space. So that intensity is worth it. And then from here, we're going to come up to our tabletop. So a couple ways to get there. You can just roll off to one side and press up. If it feels okay to roll forward and back on your spine, you're welcome to do that. That's not for everybody. And then we land in our tabletop position. So you want to have hips over your knees, shoulders landing over your wrists. You're spreading your fingers a little bit here, pressing down evenly. And then we begin to move into our cat-cow. So as you inhale, big arch in your lumbar, chest comes forward through the gates of your shoulders. Exhale. Press the mat away, round in, let the back of your neck lengthen. And then you continue like that, just inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding in. You're moving with your breath at your pace. We've already warmed up the spine pretty good, so these should just feel really nice. There should be a nice sense of ease. We start to find this idea of vinyasa, connecting movement with breath. It starts to feel like this moving meditation, which for many of us is really nice. It's easier to quiet the mind as opposed to just being in a static asana. And just do a few more rounds. Your eyes might be closed here. That's really nice. It just helps you to get internal and pay attention. Often when eyes are open, we start to look around. We get distracted. We start to think about things. Which is fine too, but we need breaks from all of the thinking. All right, so as you inhale, come up to a neutral spine. You're neither arching nor rounding. Find your belly, so pull your lower belly in and up. So you're getting a little core containment, and then put your brain in your outer hips. Feel like they're squeezing in. You could imagine that there were like human corn cob holders that you're just sticking into your outer hips. That's a weird analogy, but hopefully it helps you get that idea of what I'm looking for. So everything is kind of contained and moving inward. Hold on to that as you inhale, lift your right leg. So hips are still facing down, hip bones are nice and even, your toes are pointing down. Gaze slightly forward, take an inhale, you might find just a little arch. Exhale, round knee into nose. Inhale, so a little bit of that cat stretch as you extend the leg back. Exhale, curl in, knee to nose. 3 more, inhale, lengthen, so just getting into the core here. Exhale, rounding in. Inhale, stretching out. Exhale, get into a tight little ball. 1 more, inhale, reach back. Exhale, curl in, hold here, just a few breaths. Face, jaw nice and soft. Try to bring that right heel closer to your right buttock. See if you can let your neck release down towards that knee. Inhale, stretch back. And then place that knee down and we come into the second side. So the same thing. So find those outer hips squeezing in, feel your lower belly pulling it up, and those two both serve each other. As you inhale, left leg lifts, so hips stay even, you haven't changed anything. Little bend in your lower back as you exhale. Curl in, knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen back. Keep those toes pointing down as you exhale. Curl in. Inhale, lengthen out, 3. Good, exhale, curl in. Inhale, stretch out nice and long, 2. Exhale, curl in. And then inhale, 1 more. Curl in, hold here, few breaths. Vigorously press the mat away. As you do that, maybe feel your forearms squeeze in towards each other, the upper arms turn on. Left heel a little closer to your left buttocks. And this burns a little bit, that's a good thing. Inhale, stretch back, find that length. Nice. As you exhale, release your left knee down. Take a couple rounds of cat-cow at your pace, just let that go. All right, and so we've warmed up the core nice here. So let's come back to our tabletop. Outer hip squeeze in, lower belly pulls in. We're gonna reach our right toes back. You're gonna curl them under on the mat. So that leg is essentially in plank. I want you to fire that leg up a lot. We're gonna start to roll to the inner edge of that foot. So the big toe side of the foot. We have our left wrist underneath our left shoulder. From here, you start to open up into a modified Vashisthasana. So shoulder blades stack on top of each other. This is like our triangle pose that we worked on last week in the upper body. You're lengthening through the left side of your waist. You can start to seal into the back edge of that right foot. So it's like you're pressing that right foot to straight. Good, beautiful work. You might start to bring your gaze up to your top thumb, that right thumb, if it feels okay in your neck. These look fantastic. And then just for a couple of breaths, spin your right palm to face forward, reach that arm up and over. So you have this long line of energy. Yep, exactly. Through the right side of your body. As you did that though, did you start to roll those right ribs down to the floor? Spin the left ribs up towards the ceiling instead. Inhale, right arm extends back up. And then as you exhale, you unwind. Come back to your tabletop. Couple of breaths. So just adjust make any adjustments that you need to. So again, shoulders under wrists, especially we want to make sure that that right shoulder is over your right wrist because we're going to come into that side next. All right, so we know where we're going. Reach those left toes back, curl them under. So basically you're in plank on that left side. Keep that leg this active as you roll to the inner edge of your foot. Start to shift weight into that right arm, and then slowly you start to lift that left arm up. So extend, find lots of extension through this right side. It's hard to see with me wearing black and blending into the cabinet behind me, but you're getting that length. It's exactly the same feeling we have in our triangle pose, shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. And then there's a little twist here too as you roll those left ribs up towards the ceiling. Feel your shoulder blades kind of squeeze in towards each other. Maybe you bring your gaze up to your left thumb. Sorry, your right thumb. From here, spin that right palm to face forward and then extend. So you're getting this glorious lateral stretch through that right side of your waist, side of the right leg. Keep spinning those left ribs up though. Are you still breathing? So we can often hold our breath when we come into these little challenging poses. Beautiful. Stretch that right arm back up. And then as you exhale, you unwind. Take a couple rounds of cat-cow. Just let that go. All right, so let's come into a full plank here. Right toes curl under, fire that leg up. Left toes curl under. Just a few breaths here. So building a little heat inside the body, which is very nice on a snowy, cold day. So shoulders over wrists. You're extending your sternum forward as your tailbone reaches back. And then you can imagine that your heels are against a wall. You're just pressing back there. Hold on to those feelings. Think outer hip squeezing in. Find lower belly. And then use all of that to pull you back, downward dog. And then just take a moment here. Kind of do all of the little habitual things that feel good when you pull back to your downward dog. You can pedal, you can rock up on the tippy toes and then melt back. You can shift heels from side to side. The possibilities are limitless here. You can't do this wrong. So play around, explore your body, move around a little bit. Notice if you're gripping your neck at all though, let it go. And eventually you're gonna find a place of stillness. So checking to see that your feet are about hips distance apart, second and third toe point forward. Good morning, Susie. We're in downward dog. If you need a child's pose first though, before you jump into this madness, do what you need. All right, and then just peek forward between your hands again. Make sure that your arms are shoulders distance apart. If there is any tightness in your shoulders, you can spin your fingers out slightly. Don't overdo it. And then go ahead and release your neck back down. And then nice and slow, start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. Coming into Uttanasana. And when you get there, you're probably gonna want a pretty significant bend in your knees. And then as you do that, you'll be able to lay your belly over your thighs. So you can grab opposite elbows here. Check in with your feet. Has all of the weight gone into your heels? Are you gripping your toes? Are you really forward? See if you can be nice and balanced. And then just begin to sway a little bit from side to side. Change the cross of your arms. Nod your head yes. And then nod your head no. And then releasing your fingertips down to the floor. With that bend in your knees, nice and slow, start to roll on up. And it's that idea that we had in our bridge pose where we're just going one vertebra at a time. So head is the last thing to come up. When you get all the way up, just roll your shoulders back nice and gentle a few times. Good, and then let's find our strap again. So you can just go grab that. And you're gonna place it over your right shoulder. So we're gonna get into the arms a little bit here, really quick. And I'll give you variations. So reach your right arm up. Spin the pinky side of the hand to face inward. So you're getting internal rotation. You can even use your left hand to wrap in and help you find that. Bend your right elbow. So fingertips reach down your back. I'm gonna be opposite you here. Actually, I'll just switch. All right, and then you're gonna take that left arm out. So palm is gonna spin to face behind you. Reach down at a diagonal. I like this because you get a nice stretch across the upper left kind of shoulder, neck. And then bend that elbow. And this is where the strap can be really nice if you're tighter. You can hold onto the strap here at any place. If you're a little more flexible, you might get fingers. If this just isn't working for you today, I want you to actually simply take your left hand on top of your right elbow. So also going to be a really nice stretch. So as we come into this pose, our arms are doing two different things. Top arm is in internal rotation, bottom arm is externally rotated. So you're very gently trying to press that left shoulder head back. And then notice if your posture has suffered at all. So sometimes we start to really overarch in the lumbar. So just find a little of your belly. Good. See if you can lift that right elbow up towards the ceiling just a hair more. It might just be a thought, but move in that direction. Beautiful work, everyone. All right, deep inhale. As you exhale, you're gonna release your strap if you have it. Stretch your right fingertips up, left fingertips down at a diagonal. And then inhale, arms come perpendicular to your shoulders. Point your fingers up towards the ceiling. It's this huge stretch through the inseam of the arm. Good, and then release fingertips down, and then maybe even see if you can kind of try to curl them towards your wrists and get a little stretch. Upper side of the arm, lower arm. And then as you exhale, you release down. Good work. So these shoulder stretches are intense. Change your strap to the opposite shoulder if you took that variation. All right, and then the same thing as you inhale, left arm reaches. And then you're gonna spin the pinky side of the hand in towards your cheek, so internally rotate. If you need to use your hand to help you find that a little bit, good. Bend the elbow, reach down, and think elbow lifting as you hold on to that internal rotation. So right arm reaches out, spin the palm to face behind you, and then come down at an angle. And I always get a nice little stretch doing that. And then you bend that elbow, grabbing the strap, and then you start to press that right shoulder head back behind you. These all look really nice. And then you're just taking your breaths here. So have you started holding your breath? Keep it moving. Face, jaw, nice and soft, relaxed. As that left elbow stretches up, your right shoulder head presses back. And at the same time, you're just standing nice and tall. So you have this nice, easy, beautiful mountain pose. Couple more. How is this side different in your body? Is it different? All right, so one more deep inhale, full complete exhale. And then start to stretch left arm up, right arm down at an angle. Good, exhale, extend arms perpendicular. We're gonna make fists this time, and then just start to circle around. Good, few times, each direction. Good, and then release your arms by your side. So before we start to flow a little bit here, let's just stretch out the fingers and the wrists a little bit. So stand where you're at, reach your right hand forward. And then you're just gonna very gently, you don't need to overdo this, few seconds each finger, you're gonna use your left hand to pull back on your fingers. And I love this. This is actually a really good thing to do a time or two every day when you are at your desk and you've been Zooming and working too hard. So great little finger stretch, great little wrist stretch. As you can tell, it's pretty intense. I always encourage students to really stretch out that middle finger. You always want to keep that working well. It's my favorite mudra, especially in a year like 2020. And then you can start to switch to your left hand. And again, there's no rush. You don't have to overdo it, but kind of a nice little stretch. Give the hands and the fingers a little love. Ooh. Good. So releasing your arms by your side. And then just make sure that you're at the back of your mat here. So adjust to the back if you need to. And we start to move here. So arms releasing by your side. Feel that openness across your heart. You're just standing nice and tall, but there is a sense of ease. As you inhale, you can stretch arms out wide. You can reach forward. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So let's lead with our right hand, nice and slow. Start to walk out to your downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, hips stay even, that same feeling that we had in our tabletop. Exhale, step that foot through. Land on your left knee. You might want blocks here. So we're gonna exhale, just melt in, big stretch on that left hip flexor. And then inhale, rock back any amount. You might keep a really deep bend in that right knee. Exhale forward, so just a little flow here, back and forth. Inhale, coming to your half splits. Couple more. Inhaling back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale. Rock forward, hold here just a few breaths. So I always think that this feels a little easier after we kind of flow like that a little bit, kind of try to warm things up. And you don't need to be deep here. Again, fingertips on blocks is really nice. If you're a little tighter, you're essentially just bringing the floor closer to you. And I just always like to stress, I think that we can sometimes think if we're losing or if we're using the props that we're cheating, that we're not working as hard as we should be. Nothing could be further from the truth. These props really help to make the poses more accessible. We're all built different. As we inhale, we're gonna start to walk back. So again, if you have some blocks here, you can change the height. Higher can be nice. As you come back, you might keep a little bend in the right knee, but you wanna feel hips stacking over that left knee, and you wanna feel that sensation of drawing that right hip back. So creating space there, like we did when we did started on the mat today with our strap. All right, so you're gonna upright yourself here. Make sure that right knee is over ankle and that you're not on a tight rope, so you can walk your right foot off to the right if you need to. As you inhale, arms reach up. So just a little crescent, and then bring your gaze up. You can press palms together if that is available to you in your shoulders. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Good. Curl those left toes under. We're gonna pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, land on your right knee. Make sure you're not on a tight rope. So kind of melting that right hip down, and then we just flow a little bit here. Inhale, come back any amount. This first one might not be very deep at all. Exhale, rock forward. Inhale, making your way back into your half splits, whatever that looks like. Exhale, coming forward. We got a few more of these. If your pace isn't matching what I'm cueing, move with your breath. That's always true. Let's do a couple more here like this. And just gently warming things up here. As you exhale and come forward into that low lunge, just hold here. Maybe you slide that right knee back a little more. Maybe you can start to melt this right hip down a little further. Maybe you don't. That's okay too. And then we start to rock back to our Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Hanumanasana is the monkey god who would leap continents with his legs. So full splits would be Hanumanasana pose. We're just doing the half version, which is plenty, in my humble opinion. We can leap like half of a continent here. All right, so rock forward. Upright yourself, so tailbone lengthens down, nice and tall through the sides of your waist. Inhale, arms reach up. If you are on a tightrope, you're gonna feel very unsteady here, so you could walk that left foot off to the left. Fire up the arms, maybe press palms together, gaze up. So as we exhale, we're gonna step to the top of our mat. So palms plant, curl right toes under, step that foot forward to meet your left foot. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, fold in. Feel your arches lift and engage. As you inhale, arms reach up. Extended mountain. And as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's just do one half sun salute here. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Let the back of the neck go. Inhale, gaze comes forward. You lengthen through the sides of your waist. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, knees bend, arms reach up. Utkatasana, chair pose. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Then knees, plant palms. We're just gonna step that left foot way back here, and let's lower onto that left knee. Inhale, rise on up. So that crescent pose. Exhale, take your arms wide. Take an inhale here. Exhale, twist to the right. Doesn't have to be far. Inhale, back to center. So just warming this up. Exhale. Twisting just the upper body to the right. Inhale, back to center. And then exhale. Let's twist here. Hold. So keeping pretty upright in your upper body. Notice if you're starting to lean forward. Imagine that you have two people on opposite sides of you, just gently pulling your wrists apart. And then now, let's start to lean forward. Left hand plants underneath that left arm. Hand could even be on a block. Right arm starts to extend up. Press to the inner edge of your right foot. So the tendency is to roll to the outer edge of that foot. Squeeze everything into the midline and then feel your shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Oh, these all look good. You might be looking down. You might be looking forward. You could even start to bring your eyeballs to that upper left thumb. One more deep inhale. Good. As you exhale, unwind. So palms plant on either side of that right foot. All right, so we're just gonna come back to a tabletop position. So just take that right knee back, even with the left. Shift forward here. Keep the belly engaged. As you exhale, elbows bend an inch, maybe two. No more than shoulders in line with elbows. Pause here. And then exhale all the way down. Tops of the feet press. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up, Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. So you are not pressing into your hands to come on up. You are using the muscles in your back to help you find this. Inhale up. Good. One more. Exhale, lower. Inhaling up. And then from here, press to your tabletop. All right. And then we are going to just step that left foot forward. So again, make sure you're not on a tightrope. Great work. As you inhale, arms reach up. So finding that crescent pose. Exhale, arms come out wide. You can just have your palms facing forward here and make sure you're not crunching the shoulders up around the ears. Deep inhale. Exhale, gentle, nice, easy twist to the left. Inhale, come back to center. And again, just using the full breath to get into these poses. Exhale, twist in. Inhale, back to center. Beautiful. As you exhale, twist, hold here. So feel like you're getting stretched apart, but at the same time, you're also getting stretched lengthwise. So sternum to the ceiling, tailbone to the floor. And then start to hinge forward. So you're reaching through that right hand, palm plants underneath your shoulder. And then that left arm stacks on top. Keep squeezing to the inner edge of that left foot. Keep squeezing that outer left hip in. Nice. Breath smooth and steady. Looks good, Susie. Maybe bringing your eyeballs up to that top thumb. If it feels okay, it'll challenge the balance. It'll stretch the neck a little bit. Some days it just doesn't happen. Good, deep inhale. As you exhale, unwind. All right, so our left foot is forward here. We're gonna curl our right toes under, step back, downward facing dog. And then nice and slow, start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. And then I want you to take your feet as wide as your mat, turn your toes out slightly. And then we're gonna start to come into a squat. So for many of us, this is incredibly challenging. Your heels might be lifting up off the mat. That's okay if they are. You could roll up the back of your mat or put your heels, oops, you can't see this, on a blanket. And we're not gonna hold here super long, just getting a little hip, a little groin stretch. And it's also okay if your buns are up high. So just do what you can. Keep breathing, keep smiling. Easy for me to say. If this is easier for you and you're in deep, you're squeezing arms into the leg, but then legs into the arms as well. So it's this isometric stretch. My father is gonna disown me. All right, so from here, we're gonna come to a comfortable seat. Oh, hallelujah. When you get there, extend your legs to straight. Give them a little shake out. And then again, this is a really great place to sit on something, especially if you know that you're a little tighter in your hips. If you find that you round a lot when you come into a seat, give yourself a little height. And that could be a bolster. It could be a couple blankets. Again, this isn't cheating. This is called kind of hacking the body so that we can get the stretch and move forward in a direction. So, maybe we don't have to use props one day, but it's okay if you use them the rest of your life. They're really good. All right, so keeping the legs extended, and do grab your strap again too. We're gonna come into our Janu Shirshasana. So you're gonna keep your left leg extended. And then you're gonna bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of that left thigh. So kind of like a seated tree pose here. So for most of us, hamstrings are pretty tight. You're gonna just take your strap around the sole of that left foot, and then one strap in each hand. So we wanna keep the spine long here. So for a lot of us, we kind of cheat it. We start to round in, and yes, you can get deeper, but you're not accessing the deep stretch. So I would prefer that you stay more upright, and then eventually you can start to walk your hands down a little more. If this is easy in your body, if you tend towards flexible, again, I want you to think of that idea of outer hip squeezing in. Really activate the legs, especially this extended leg. As you inhale, lift your arms up, so find a little more height through the sides of the waist. Twist, so there's a twist in this pose. And then exhale, same thing, keeping spine long. You might be able to reach your left hand out past the outer edge of that left foot, and then reach around, grab that left wrist with your right hand. And then this is nice. It just gives you a little of that twisting action. You still might be doing your Ujjayi breath here. You might be kind of letting that go and just simply stretching your breath out, your inhale and your exhale out. You're still breathing through the nose. That's very unique to yoga, especially that exhale through the nose. And even if you're using the strap, if you're a little tighter in the hamstring, little bend in that extended leg might be nice, that left knee. So all of these little modifications are really good. And some days we need them, some days we don't. So even for flexible people, you can just have mornings where you're really tight, days where you're tight. You did something yesterday that you're feeling it today. So adjust. I think if I can impress anything, I think one of the things that's really important about our yoga is that we pay attention and that we make these little adjustments. So even though we're doing the same poses over and over and over, they look really different. It's this really fluid practice. All right, so from here, we're gonna start to upright ourselves wherever you're at. You're gonna take your right hand, use it to draw that knee in. All right, and then we're gonna just come into a nice little twist here. So keep those left toes articulated, pointing up towards the ceiling. You're gonna reach your right fingertips behind you. If you're on support like I am, maybe you need to grab a block to place your hands on. Stretch your left arm up. And then as you exhale, twist the upper body to the right. Couple of options here. Maybe you just hug that right leg with that left arm. You may be able to get in a little deeper. They're both doing the same thing. In each version, you're getting a little leverage so that you can start to twist those left ribs and really think about this lowermost left rib coming along for the ride, leading from there, and then see how the rest of your body follows. And then as with all of our twists, you can kind of just play with your gaze. So depending upon how the neck is feeling, maybe you start to move towards looking out over that right shoulder. Maybe you pause before there. Nice, Tanya. Check in with your spine again. Use that inhale to help you find length and space. Hold on to that. And then as you exhale, as everything empties out and contracts in, maybe you can twist in just a micromillimeter more. Good, so one more deep inhale. As you exhale, come back to center. Good, extend your right leg to straight. Give the legs a little shake out here. And then we take that Janu Shirshasana to the second side. So you know where you're going. You can come into it right away. Sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. So if you're tighter, or if this is your tight side or an injured side, use the strap. And then again, start out tall. So you're hinging forward at your waist. Be the side view there. And then you just start to walk your hands down any amount. If this is a little easier in your body, and maybe you reach arms up, twist first and then hinge. Extend that right palm out past the outside of your right foot. And then I didn't say this the left side, but you can turn that hand out and then grab the back side of the wrist with your left hands. You just have one left hand probably with your left fingers. And then you spin this left rib towards the right thigh, so you're getting a little leverage there. And this is such a great pose. This is one of those poses that like covers all of the bases. It's doing everything. Hamstring stretch, forward fold, hip and groin stretch, a little twist. This pose is like the perfect boyfriend, except for that this pose actually exists. Or the perfect girlfriend. A few more good breaths. Twisting a little more on your exhale. So wrapping those left ribs towards the right thigh. Good, and then you're just gonna start to upright yourself. Use your hand to the outside of that left knee, draw it in, and then you just wanna land with that knee under your ankle. So you don't need to be in really tight here. You wanna feel like you can really be on those sit bones. Flex those right toes up towards the ceiling. Left fingertips reach behind you. So it's like a little kickstand to help you find that height in your spine. Stretch your right arm up. And then as you exhale, begin to twist, either hugging here, elbow might come to the outside of that foot. As you do this, that right leg falls asleep because there's so many things to focus on here. And then just play with where it feels good to gaze. Just noticing the sensations that you're getting in your neck. So Marichyasana, nice little twist before we come into our Shavasana. So one deep inhale, fill up, lengthen, and then exhale, twist in a little deeper. And then on your next exhale, come back to center. Extend that left leg to straight, give the knees a little bounce. And then bend them in, give yourself a hug here, maybe drop your nose down to your knees. And then we're gonna come into our Shavasana, so making our way onto our back. If you know that you tend to be a little tender, a little tighter in your lower back, you can grab some blankets for underneath your knees. You could slide blocks underneath your knees. So just giving yourself a little support, it will help you to relax. Otherwise, you are welcome to take classic Shavasana. If you don't have props handy, go ahead and just bend your knees, take your feet wide, and allow them to knock in towards each other. So exactly the way we started class. And then one final deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. And then taking rest here. So soaking up all of this good work you've done. Just giving your body a chance, the brain a chance to just assimilate, percolate. Melt in. Let your next inhale be deeper. Sigh the breath out as you exhale. Ha. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes, so bringing some gentle movement back to your body. Maybe stretching your arms up overhead. And then staying soft and quiet, just roll to one side or the other, find the fetal position, pause there a moment. Use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So eyes are still closed here, gaze is still inward. Finding your Sukhasana. So feel those shoulders land over your sit bones, really root down into the earth with your sit bones. And then just notice how you feel here. Just a little bit of movement, a little bit of breathing goes a really long way. Hopefully you're feeling a greater sense of ease, a greater sense of spaciousness for your breath to move. Maybe there's even a sense of spaciousness, of focus and calm and joy inside your head. So you did this, you made it happen, you know how. Hold on to it as long as you can, you'll lose it. When you do, maybe you just do a quick little reset, take a few breaths, do a sun salute or two. Finally, just send yourself lots of love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Bring your palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today, yogis. Thank you.